Shambho Mahadeva. Om Namah Shivaya. The life. Prano Vava Asya Bhuya. Prana. Bhagavan says, Maharishi Yajnavalkya said, Prana is not a breathing process. Neither it is breath, nor it is a process, nor it is a breath. It's a life principle. So, without which there would be neither aspiration nor self-consciousness, nor anything for that matter, whatever we have explained so far. So when you go to the Sukshmatala, you will find all those what has been explained earlier is contracting into the life. Unless the life is there, none of them can be projected. There can be a projector machine, there can be electricity, there can be a lens, there can be a screen, there can be a film. It doesn't project. Even though all those things are there, it cannot project. How does it project? Is this material that it's a particular position. When the film comes in certain position, when the light comes at the back of it, and the lens is in the front of it, and the screen is far away from the lens, then only a projection happens. Even though otherwise also a projection without seeing it happens, but when you want to see it, this sthulata has to be, exposed from one to the other, then only this can be seen. Not exactly. Some sort of similarity I'm just telling. It's not exactly as projecting. But I just want to tell you that what is sthulata? Sthulata is that from which it can, so many things can, from the life, so many things can be projected, from life to the previous position of Asha, in the previous position of this, the consciousness, the self, consciousness, and things like that. Everything can be projected. But so this is what he says, that unless this life is there, that means unless that particular position of Sukshmata is there, first Sthulatas cannot be projected. Sthulatas cannot come, it's not projected, it cannot come out of it. See. It is the same thing. It is like, as I told you about a picture, when it is expanded, the pixels are widened, and then you can see more, the vaster area of it. Now, when you contract that, the whole details will become small. Now, only when in the picture, if you want to see the eye alone, you have to expand it so only the eye can be seen. You see. But when you contract it, the totality can be seen. Unless this totality is there, the eye expansion cannot be done. So, Sthulata cannot be done. Similarly, unless the self is there, Prana, the life. The life is there, nothing can be expanded from, Sthulata cannot be projected from that. But then, what is this life? So long we could understand certain positions of it, up to the self also, to an extent we could, even though it is not very clear, but we could understand what is this the self-existence and self-experience, asha, and also the cause for the self-existence, the desire of it or the intention or the transcendence of it, and then the life, the self itself and the consciousness. This could be, to a certain extent, we could approach and we could perceive it, conceive it. But the life here is the entry of the. Here is the classification of this. That's the entry of the universal into the particular. Is the juncture. What is called life operating in the personality. The universe, Vishwa, which is undefined again. There is no definition for Vishwa, even though we define it according to our own convenience, but it's not defined, undefined it is. It's also inscrutable, invisible, inaccessible, cannot be scrutinized, it cannot be analyzed, it cannot be identified, you see. It cannot be identified as it's something, which is vast. So that universe, the Vishwam. That the Vishwam means what again? It is not an object when it is not inscrutable, invisible, inappropriate, invisible, not scrutiny, it cannot be analyzed. When you have all these classifications, what is that called? What is that then? Is it that? Is it this? Is it he? Is it she? What do we call it? There's no word to specify it because it's not a substance, it's not an object. It is not that which can be perceived by my mind. I can create a shape and form, then only I can classify it as something, then only it can be known as something. So somebody says, if it is not, it is only that there's inference drawn, you see. Either it has to be something. If it is not something, it has to be nothing. Now, what is this nothing? What is the meaning of nothing? Something I can understand. What is meaning of something? That something, there is a sum of things is called something. What is the meaning of nothing? Actually, there is no meaning for nothing. It's an opposite of something, that which is not there. That's all. What is nothing? Nothing is not zero. Nothing is not shunyata. We are specifying them. Shunyata in this is shunyata. It is shunyata. Shunyata is that shunya. Shunya, even though we say it is zero and all that, shunya. No. Shunya. In one way there is no value, shunya. In one way it is invaluable, shunya. Both are shunya. Zero, no value at all. We say no normally in our language and in our conversation. Zero, it means nothing. There is zero, but according to mathematics, when you say zero, invaluable. What is the value of zero? Everything comes from zero, they said. Invaluable. You understood now? What is that? Nothing. That's why it's known as nothing. That's called shunya. That's why it is known as shunya. The name shunya has come for zero. The shunya name has come from that which is infinite. It is infinite. It's not known. What is the value? Invaluable. When it is invaluable, it is shunya. The shunyata is that? Then you know. You know what is shunyata? Shunyata is a status where invaluability is there. Now, what is that? How to explain it? Shunyata is a status where invaluability is sustained. Invaluability is sustained, not that it is there. It is sustained, always there. It cannot be changed. The value of 0 cannot be changed. All other values can be changed. If it is number 2, I add 0, it can be 20. The value of 2 has changed. You understood what I am saying? Anything that is there in connection with the shunyata, the value changes. But shunyata's value is not changed by anything. Shunyata's value has not changed by anything. But other values will be changed by shunya. Shunya is very big. That's why shunya. That's why in Puranas, in Upanishads, or in meditation, or in yogic science, they have always told reaching the status of shunyata. Shunyata in the sense infinite, invaluable, inscrutable, inaccessible, invisible status. Is shunyata. That shunyata is infinite. That shunyata is called universal. Unified verses. Yes. Verse and poetry unified. There is nothing beyond that. In Vang, there is nothing beyond that. Universe, that's the word. That's how the uni has come. From the universe only the uni has come. Universal, united. That means put together. Universal. So that's how Vishwam. What is Vishwam? Is it consisting of few countries, few oceans, a sky, earth, trees, animals, human beings? Is put together is Vishwam? No. They are also there. Put together them is not Vishwam, they are also there in Vishwam. What we can analyze and scrutinize and understand is only that bottom line of these things in the Vishwam, which is only screened below. See, it's called finites. We try to understand the Vishwam through the accumulation of finites. I remember having told you last class about the possession of things. Through the possession of the finites, we try to identify what is the infinite. When there is nothing more to possess, is a stage where we reach as infinite. We call thought at that point of time is possession. Possession of things, possession of whatever it is. Emotions, feelings, everything is a possession. Vishwam. So what is this? He said the entry of the universe, universal. He didn't say entry of the universe. I was wrong there. He said entry of the universal. May not be in grammatically, you may think it may not be matching with the sentence or something like that. Entry of the universe should be, or universal principle should be, or universal incidents, universal sex, something should be. What do you do? Your language Vang, yatha vacho nivartanti aprapya manasasa. Universal into the particular juncture, is it? The entry of the universal into the particular is the juncture which is called life operating in our personality. Each and every small word is important. So I told you about the universal. That itself is that infinite, which cannot be scrutinized, which cannot be identified, which cannot be penetrated. See? Which cannot be penetrated. So it is not possible to understand it, possible to possess it. So the meaning of possession is lost there, That's why I said possession is, that's why great Maharishi Yajnavalkya said, possession is nothing but an ego satisfaction. That's all. Are you really possessing it? Let's say, okay, possession. For our satisfaction, let us say, I possess, yes. I possessed the glass and it is with me. Have you really possessed it? Have you really possessed it? What is the meaning? What do you understand? Shall we go little teda meda? What's the meaning of possession? I mean, even though it's not supposed to be discussed here, otherwise we will be delaying the process, but doesn't matter. What is the meaning of possession now? A simple word which we normally use, understand and possess. Every moment, isn't it? Every moment is possessed by you, is what you think. Yes. I told about the glass. I possess the glass. What do I mean by that?
Using an object. Using an object for a certain period of time.
It's not called possession. Hired. It's hired for some time. If it is for some time, it's hired.
It belongs to me.
Belongs. That's right. Belongingness. Now, who has got the belongingness? You have the belongingness to the glass. Does the glass has any belongingness to you?
No.
Then do you really possess it? No. It's like slaves those days. You bought the slaves at one point. History, when we go back, we have never seen what we read from the history. They used to buy the auction and buy the slaves, and they said, I possessed them. Have you really possessed them?
No.
Why?
It's not reciprocated.
Their minds are not being possessed by you. Only their physical strength and activity has been possessed physically to them, but his mind is always free from you. You can never possess it, is it not? You understand what I am trying to tell you, I think. Yes. So what is the meaning of possession? There is no meaning of possession. Is only a satisfaction of the ego center, nothing other than that. Oh, I have it. I have you. Do you really have it? If you have it, it should be a part of you. Then only you have it. It should be a part of you. Then only you have it. Okay, fine. Yes, do you possess your heart? It's inside you. Okay. That is separate. Glass is outside. Do you possess your own heart? No. Do you possess your own eyes? Do you possess anything that what you think it is with you always? It is there with you always. Do you possess it? If you do not possess that, what can you possess? You understood the meaning of possession? Possession is a word which is absolutely illusion. A manifested, manipulated height of illusion is possession. I possess that. I own it. It's absolutely height of illusion. I own it. We own nothing. Or we own everything. One of this. That's why shunyata. So there comes the shunyata. Nothing or everything. If you understand it as nothing, it is nothing. If you understand it as everything, it is everything. Shunya, status of shunyata in meditation is that which is everything. Vishwam. So you understand what is possession? We don't possess anything, anyone in this universe. Not in this universe, any time. Nothing is possessed. But we always talk about possession, and unless we do that hallucination of possession, illumination of possession in the status of illustration, we are not satisfied. We means our ego is not satisfied. We possess somebody's emotions sometimes. We say that, oh, we love, we hate. No? All these emotions. This also is possessed. Is also possessed. What is that possession? Just a bubble on top of the water. Nothing other than that. A small disturbance which you think that you have possessed. Finished. No? It's a bubble. Looking at it is beautiful and so big. You think it has been possessed? A fraction of a second of disturbance. See, I like that word in Hindi, even though I don't understand most of the language, I don't know the right meanings of it, but still certain words is attracted to me. Hawa ka choka, something like that is a word, is there? No? Is there? Beautiful it is, no? It is not hawa, it is not even blowing, it is not standing, it is something which very slow, something like that, is it not? Neither touching nor touching, so that status, you see. I like that word beautifully well because it's very attractive in that. Because that, even to that, it can disturb that bubble on top of the water. This is the value of possession. Height of illusionary. There is nothing beyond this which you can call it as foolishness. According to me, I'm sorry. I may be wrong. To me, it appears like that. It appears, yes. I'm not an authority in that. This is the meaning of possession. What is the meaning of possession? See, the meaning, what I'm trying to tell is that the meaning what we understood before this, we learned about explanation. The meaning what we understand about possession is totally different. But we must understand this. Why we are talking all these things? They are all pathways towards the identification of the truth, identification of the Vishwam, identification towards the Shunyata, identification towards scrutable, unscrutable, scrutinable, inscrutable, identification of penetrable, impenetrable, identification of the truth. No false, only the truth. There are no opposite. For truth, there is no opposite. Because truth is self. Truth is only one. See? Identification of truth. So this we have to know, is why I explained to you about the possession. It is very important. Why? Because that is the one which makes us slaves actually, It is a slavery. Same thing happens. It's a very temporary, absolutely, status of our egocentric, magically getting involved into into that illusion, height of illusion. That's all. There are no facts in it. Not even an iota of fact. I am building up on something where there is no substratum. We call it as children building castle, sand in the something like that. You see. It's something like that. It's only what gives you a satisfaction. That is it really there? No. Is it unreally there? No. Eh? Om Shanti, the entry of universal into the particular. That universal which is known as infinite, that universal which is known as shunyata, that universal which is invisible, inscrutable, unapproachable, indivisible, inaccessible, impenetrable. That universal means the principle of that, because we cannot, what is universal? Universal, that's why universal. That principle of that shunyata. The shunyata is not there. We cannot see shunyata. Zero, just putting a line like this is not shunyata. It is shunya. Okay. It can be called as shunya, but it cannot be called as shunyata. Shunyata is a status of the shunya. Shunyata is the status of shunya. Status of shunya in the sense what? From where that, from where the substratum, from where that unchangeable has come, is called status. Status is a sthiti, in Sanskrit, it's a sthiti. Sthiti means what? Sthita. Sthita is permanent. From that, whatever comes out, from the sthiti, whatever comes out can be something different. But what is the substratum of that? Is sthita, is shunyata, is a position of that. It's not shunya, shunyata. Shunya has come from the shunyata. Right? Like Prakriti has come from Purusha. What is Prakriti? You understand what is Prakriti? We have discussed, I think, quite a lot about it. Prakriti is not, even though we call it as nature. Nature, okay, fine, no problem. Nature is also right. Nature is not the nature what we are talking about, the nature. Nature is Swabhava, is called Prakriti. Nature is means, what is nature? Nature is Swabhava. Nature is not that some trees and plants and a river and an ocean and land and few people. It's not nature. I am just telling our common language what I am talking about. It's not necessary. Swabhava is what? Swabhava is a status. Is there something called Swabhava? No. Swabhava is static status from which certain characteristics have been formed, is called Swabhava. 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 The bhava of the self. Self itself is not known. The swata of the self is not at all known. See, when we analyze, now we know what is self. Self is a status of transcendence by the consciousness into the consciousness, which is called as higher consciousness, is called as the self, is what we said. And that self has got a swabhava. No, brother. I think better not to understand it. That's why I said, don't understand. Don't try to understand is what Maharishi also says, that don't try to understand, because they are beyond the status of understanding, because understanding can be done only for the finite objects. We call it as objects which are finite, which can be identified by the mind, what we call it as mind. In the status only we can identify, understand the finite things. Those finites are not infinite. We have to supposed to transform ourselves into infinite from the finite. So he said, universal into the particular. The universal, that means the status of the shunyata, which has got great importance again. Vishwam. That universe, the principle of the Vishwam, the principle of the Prakriti, the Sobhava of the Purusha, getting into a particular in the sense, in the Vishwam itself. Yes. In the Vishwam itself. If I take an atom, the atom is created, the atom in the Vishwam, in the universal, is created by the universe. Is it not? What is this atom? Is universe. Atom is created by the universe. Atom is in the universe. Universe is in the atom. Alright? Suppose there is a drop of water in the ocean. That drop of water is the ocean. The ocean is the drop of water. The drop of water is in the ocean, and the ocean is in the drop of water also. Same way, Vishwa. Am I clear? That's why he said, into the particular. This universal into the particular. So what happened? An identification has been given here. Just for the sake of studies. Don't think it is real. Again, don't try to understand it. Into the particular. You want me to elaborate? These are not subjects just like that. We would speak one word, 1 minute. For normal layman, everything has to be related to this body and mind. Then only he will understand it. Right. How to relate it? He has to relate everything. Then what he is trying to understand everything. Well, nothing wrong. Even though Upanishad says don't try to understand. Through the understanding, we travel towards the beyond understanding. Alright? So the involvement of mind for some time, let us take it for granted. So here when I said universal into the particular, the sharira, the mana. The mind has certain characteristics. I have already told this. The mind has certain characteristics, is it not? Everyone has got different characteristics. Now these different characteristics have come because of our past karmas and experiences, and then we practicing them, undergoing them, so it has become a character. So this characterization has come from where? Originally from the characterization has come from the swabhava, which is known as swabhava. Yes. Characterization has come from the swabhava. Swabhava is different. his characterization is different. Upabhava is that it is. Like it is Upabhava. Like we called yoga. Recently there was a yoga festival and all that. They said yoga. It is not yoga. Yoga is a great, very great chapter. Yoga is that what? Uniting into that which is infinite is called yoga. Yoga, yujyate iti yoga. I already told that. Yujyate iti yoga. So what is this exercise? What is called? It is known as Upa Yoga. Asana, Upa Asana. Yoga, Upa Yoga. Mana, Upamana. Jiva, Upajivanam. Jiva, Jivita, in life means that living is called Jiva. Upajivana is that a source to live is called Upajivana. That's the meaning of it, Upajivana. Finding out a, suppose I am working, okay, what are you? I am a mechanic fixing up the engine. Upajivanam is that. For the purpose of, not because he is interested in making the engine, not because he is interested in getting the money, not because he is interested in buying eatables with that money. None of them are true. Then why he is doing it? It's Upajivana, the life to be persisting in him. Is why this is called Upajivana, you understand? So Upayoga, same way, Swabhava. So from Swabhava, when it comes down to this, his characterization, what I call it as characterization, is called the Bhava. Bhavana. From Swabhava only, Bhava has come. Bhakti Bhava, this Bhava, that Bhava, and Bhava, all sorts of Bhava. Various Bhavas. In a dancer, she or he expresses lots of Bhava, Krodha, Shantata, Saukumarata, Saubhagya, Sulabha, Asulabha. Everything is being projected, expressed through certain methods, certain mudras, expression. Everything is a mudra. Through the eyes or through the nose, through the cheeks, through the fingers, through the fan. Everything is a mudra. Through various mudras, identifications, this expression is projected. What is that? Bhava. Bhava is that. A dancer projects it through the anga of Sharira to the external, this one, and Bhava in a human being is projected by the mind. That's all the difference. Mind is a dancer, which projects this Bhava from time and again at different positions of the dancing. It projects this Bhava. It comes from where? It's from the Swabhava. So that Swabhava, what is that Swabhava? Bhava itself cannot be identified. So Swabhava, it all comes from the Swabhava. This is what I mean by into particular. Universal into particular. Swabhava and Bhava. Everyone's Swabhava is same. Even though we say that, oh, it is his Swabhava. Even though we call it, that means his inherent nature is that, is it? Inherent nature is that. What is nature? Nature is Swabhava again, which is indefinable. It's indefinable. If nature is indefinable, how can there be a definable in him? His nature means what? It has no meaning actually. Nature is one. His nature, what I am calling his nature as, is that from that indefinable, a definable has been created by me and started utilizing it. We call it as his Swabhava, his nature. Actually, it is not like that. It's only an illusion again. It's not the right word to use, but for the purpose of materialistic way of living and understanding, we call it as his Swabhava, in the sense he has inherited that sort of characteristics from the Swabhava. We call it as his Swabhava. That's all. Like, oh, it is my water. Calling like something like that. That's all. And that is your water. This has come from this has come from this. What is the difference? You understood? Whose water is this? I call it my water. From where it has come from? I call it my Swabhava. There is nothing called my Swabhava. From the Swabhava, from the indefinable, I have defined certain characteristics and started acting towards that or experiencing towards that is called my Swabhava. Yes. So to that Swabhava, if it is something which is attracted, whatever it is it true? That itself is false. Based on the karmas and karma phalas, these manifestations of the definable has been manifested from the indefinable is called the character. Am I clear or am I confusing? No. Okay. If it is that, you must tell me. Okay, then the particular in the sense, why he has used the word particular, that's why I said, in the Vishwa itself, an atom has been identified in order to explain that. So in that particular is created by the Vishwam, by the universal, and this is universal. Universal is in this. When you analyze it, is everything like air in the like air in the earthen pot, air inside the earthen pot or any container. It is the same principle there also. That is why it is known as particular. There's a purpose behind it in his explanation. There's a purpose behind it. Is why a particular. Particular means here a jivatma. Let us correlate it with the sharira and mana. In every sharira and mana. So in every sharira and mana, there is a characteristic, and that characteristic has come from my experiencing from the previous life or in this life. Based on that, I started practicing certain methodology of experimental experiencing. The capability to do that has come from the Swabhava. Somewhere, from where you got this, developed the characteristic. There has to be some substance in that. That characteristics you have developed to utilize it has come from the Swabhava, which is nature, which is common, which is nature. So that Swabhava is in your characteristic. Your characteristics is in the Swabhava. Yes. Swabhava. So your characteristics is created by the Swabhava. Only thing, that is why particular. So your characteristic from the Swabhava which you have manifested it based by the function of your karmas. You have manifested it. Due to that manifestation, the Swabhava has created a particular way of activation for the purpose of experimenting and experiencing is called your characteristics, but which is known as the Swabhava, which has got inherent capability of the Swabhava, which can always transform itself into Swabhava because it is Swabhava. How can one transform into something else? It is not transformation. No. What is transformation? Transforming into the previous form of that is called the transformation. The form in a trance going into form is called transform. Which has come from the form only can go into transform. So where you will go? You will go into your previous status. Okay? That status is also called as particular. From that status which has come for the purpose of experimenting is called particular. We are all particular units. These particular units, as I told you, in the Vishwam. Vishwam is in the particular unit. Particular unit is created by the Vishwam, and these all the units are in the Vishwam, in the universal. But even though it is like that, when I expanded it, certain portions has become regular and irregular. When the pixels have been expanded in a photograph, in the computer, when you expand it, the number of pixels per square centimeter, square millimeter, whatever it is, area, is being expanded. It is 1000 per square inch. I expand it to 1000 per 10 square inch. So each and every minutest particles of that 1 square inch will be multiplied by 10. Is 10 square inch will be multiplied by 10. So one dot of the nose will be multiplied by the 10 times. Is it not? Is called expanding. Stulata. You understood what is stulata? This expanding. So when you multiply that particular dot into expanding to that, you will find it is not, this dot is not the same as the next dot. It has got irregularities between them, but put together it looks like this. Am I clear? Is why he said particular. So one particular, whether it is the form of this or whether it is an irregular, what we call it as irregular, that is called particular. In that particular irregular or regular and irregular is a manifested word by me. That's all, nothing other than that, only for identification. In that, the universal is there. That particular. What is that? A person. This person, this person, this person, this person. So, regular, irregular, irregular, regular, regular. Okay? In that, what is there? This universal is there. Is why he said universal into the particular. We are talking about life, prana. Is why this is very necessary to explain. You should know the basis of it. Why we are not just traveling somewhere. The prana getting into the particular unit is what we are talking about now. Otherwise, we will never understand what is it. In each and you, it is my prana. It is his prana. Uska pran chala gaya, mera pran abhi bhi mere mein hai. This see misconceptions. You understood? That's why I tell these words, so that it's very clear. This has to be understood. What is that? His pran, that his is that the particular. We call it as his prana, even though it is his prana. We say that in that particular, whatever the universal status, that means the sthiti, purva sthiti of that particular purva sthiti, the status before that, from where it has come, that shunyata. That shunyata is in him, so we call it as his prana. But otherwise, prana is common, his is different. That his and hers, what we call, is what Maharishi mentions here as particular. And this his and hers is only a manifestation by us. It's only that akara which, when we have expanded this universal into the number of pixels increased, 10 times it multiplied. When it is 10 times multiplied, I found in that particular area of 1 square, which I thought it is only one dot, that one dot, when it is expanded into multiples of that area, I found there are thousands of them, some regular and irregular shapes. These regular and irregular shapes are what we are calling as Jivatmas. Am I clear? Is it okay now? More or less conceivable? Is it right? Is it okay? Is called the particular. So what happened? Into the particular. Now you understand what is into the. Why universal into the particular? What is it? Chanting Vishwam Saptamana Tagiri. What is that? Huh? So what is that? See, that exactly explains more or less the same thing. There's a chanting Vishwam Saptamana Nagari, where it is the town, which is the area, and there's that. It is Dakshinamurti Stotram. Yes. In Dakshinamurti Stotram, it is there. This is exactly what he's telling. Yes. Even though we call it as a Nagari, that is also Vishwam. That Nagari is Vishwam, that Vishwam is Nagari. Vishwam is in the Nagari, Nagari is in the Vishwam. The Nagari has been created by the manifested from the Vishwam. If the Vishwam is not there, Nagari is not there. But even if the Nagari is not there, Vishwam is there. Yes. Even if the Jivatmas are not there, Praana is there. Yes. Only the Jivatmas are good. Jivatmas are those manifestations. The Jagat itself is a manifestation like this. That's why Jagat Mithya, they said. Jagat itself is a manifestation like this. By expanding it for the purpose of experiments, the more and more you expand each and every. You take this paper. Why take one torchlight and see the paper? Have you noticed it? As children, we all do this, no? Through a paper, have you done the torchlight pass through? Inside that dots and all the structure, dirty structure of that of paper can be, even though beautiful, plain outside. Everything can be seen. Some of them are embossed inside, no? Bond 72 and all that is there inside, but outside cannot be seen. You see, oh, this is my letterhead pad. The my letter pad, when it is taken, seen through the torchlight inside, Bond, James Bond is written there. I understand what I am trying to do. Is it clear? Inherent. So, outside it is looking. So the moment you expand it, you see there, multiples of that which has been created in that. So put together it looks smooth. See. But when it is multiplied, no, you know the regularities and irregularities. That's what I said, regular and irregular. So each individual is regular, irregular, irregular, regular, regular, irregular. So different shapes and forms. These different shapes and forms, why there are different shapes and forms? Because the utility of the Vishwam inside that, utility of the Prana inside that, or utility of the Shunyata inside that particular unit is being utilized in a different way for different purposes, for different experimental experience, is why they are regular and irregular. It's clear? And the bamboo is taken, boiled, flattened, compressed, pressed, and then now did all sorts of compression on that. Then only the paper is made. Now what happens is that the texture of the bamboo itself has got a particular swabhava in it. Whatever compression you do, whatever elimination you do, whatever boiling you do, those strips and lines of the bamboo which is there in the origin, that will always remain in the finished product also. Even though it appears to be same, but it because of the assimilation of the pixels together, assimilation of the number of area together, it looks to be same, but the impressions will be exactly as it has in that. For not having it, it should not have any impression in the bamboo. It should be absolutely plain. There should be no marks. Then only this paper also will have, when you look at this thing, absolutely plain it will be. Have you got it? What do I mean by that? I mean by that, this Jivatma or this irregular shape or regular shape or this particular, what we are talking, is particular because of that irregular shape in the bamboo. You got it? Due to his own previous experiences of evolution by itself in the Vishwam, in the atmosphere, in the Prakriti, in the Shunyata. Its own function due to karmas and karmapalas. Since those due to karmas and karmapalas, certain impressions have been created, the same impressions have been created, same impression has been transmitted into the next Janma in the same Jivatma, into the next Janma in the same Jivatma. So the Swabhava or the characteristics seems to be exactly same as before, even though the form and shape here it is different, but the nature of the Swabhava, the Prakriti, the nature of the Swabhava or the nature of the characteristics is the same as it has been created in the previous Janma for the purpose of experimental experiences. Once this experimental experiencing is completed, then the form and shape will be changed. How? Bamboo. What all tricks I have to think of? Bamboo has got these impressions. Lights are there, we all know it. Those are the lights, what we are seeing here, depending upon the, because they make a pulp. While making a pulp, all get mixed. Somewhere it is, that marks solidification, somewhere this one. So those impressions cannot be changed, the bamboos. Only thing, the impressions may be different in shape here, but the same impressions are the cause of creating, even in the pulp, the cause of creating different densities are because of the impressions that is there in the original of the bamboo. I am not a paper technologist, but still the manufacturing we can so talk about. So this pulp is again molded, and then when it is coming, depending upon the experimental experience, the swabhava of the bamboo will always be there. That is why these impressions have come in this. The same impressions may be in a different form and shape. In the previous Janma, one was an animal, and in this Janma, he is a human being. But in that human being, even though shape and form is different, in him, that animality is there. In this paper, the quality of bamboo is there. How do you define the paper? Oh, bamboos from Assam, bamboos from Myanmar, bamboos from here, bamboos from there. So this bamboo will clear this sort of paper. This bamboos can be used for this sort of paper. This should be used for cardboard, and this should be used for this one. No? Oh. You see? Based on the characteristics of the bamboo, you define. You see? That means from the undefined, a defining has been taken place. I create. Coming back. Now, so from the Janma, for experimental experience, the same characteristics and tactics has been used to a great extent for the purpose of experimenting in this Janma. For the purpose of what? For dissolving the paper has been made for what? Dissolving the previous experience of the bamboo. Now, after experimental experience of this paper again, if you shred it again, make a pulp and do another paper, that impressions will not be there in that paper. The impressions of the bamboos, which was there originally, will not be there in the paper. Then what impressions will be there? The impressions of this paper will be there in the next paper. Are you getting it? If I can manage with my powers and techniques, powers or utility, the impressions in this paper today, the next paper what comes out will be Shunya. Is it clear? While melting this, what should I do? I should remove all blemishes. After removing all blemishes, I'll transform, look through the light, absolutely no blemishes there. No blemishes, you understand? Same way, Vishwam transmitted into a particular, the particular has got a Swabhava which is utilizing the Swabhava for the characteristics for the purpose of experimental experiencing. Through that experimental experiencing, if I, instead of acquiring more and more experiencing and blemishes, if I transform, utilizing my ability of transformation for the purpose of not creating more blemishes, but to remove the blemishes, I will merge with the Vishwam, not the other substance which is called particular or sub-particular. Clear? How the Janmas are taken. You have the same capacity. It's not new. You have the capacity of transformation. As we told last time also, that, where did I say this? I don't remember. That you have the capacity to transform. Everything is transformation only. Yes, ascension and descension, I said. Everything is a change only, everything is transformation only. See? So if you utilize that capacity for the purpose of descending, you will have more and more blemishes to remove. Future. If you use the same capacity to ascend, that means through the tapasya, through the jnanam, through the upasana, through the samarpana bhava, and all this, when it comes Shraddha, it's a great principle of Shraddha is coming in after 2 chapters. When you have that is much sushma, When you come to that, so what happens? You transform into the Shunyata, where there are no blemishes, from where you come, or from you, something else come. You become the Shunyata. That's called the merging with the universal. So universal into the particular. Now you understand what is the meaning of particular? It's very appropriate to use it, is it not? If you do not know, particular means we always think particular, that's all. Read and go on this sentence. Universal into the particular is the juncture which is called life operating in our personality, is the sentence. So that's what we are explaining now. So we talked about universal, we know into the particular. Now we go, now again, there are so many things. Of course, now I think you got an idea. I don't want to further elaborate that. There are hundreds of examples and beautiful. Is the juncture which is called life operating in our personality. The entry of the universal into the particular. That means the Swabhava of the Purusha through Prakriti into the Jivatma. Neither the Jivatma, nor the Prakriti, nor the Purusha. The principle of the Purusha, which is known as the Shakti of Purusha, which is from the Prakriti nature, and from that nature or Prakriti, the Swabhava of the Purusha or Shakti of Purusha or the Swabhava of the Purusha is being transmitted into the Jivatma. When it is transmitting, that juncture is there. Why it is juncture? We called it as juncture. It is called as a juncture. Why? Because there is a particular atom in the universe, as I told you. When that universe is formed by the atom is formed by the universe, while making that atom, for a moment there can be a vacuum inside that, because suppose there is a dense material. In that I want to make a division. Okay. When I am making a division, what I have to do? I will have to empty out certain vacuum that. Then only this can be inserted in. That space has to be created. Okay. Now there's a stone. I have to carve. Carving is that making those lines. In order to make the lines, what I have to do? I have to remove the top structure of the rock to that extent where I want to create that line. Is it not? That means I have to remove it. Remove a structure. Then that air or the air inside in the atmosphere gets filled up in that place, and it becomes a shape and form. Correct? Same way, something like that. It's not exactly, don't compare it. Something like that. Suppose in this atmosphere, in the universal, when a particular is created, as I told you, when you expand, suddenly while expanding, it's a fraction, not even a fraction of a second, very small. Time wise it is very little. Suddenly a portion is created like that. While creating, inside there is a vacuum. Suppose, just for explanation I am telling you, vacuum. But that vacuum immediately gets filled. The moment I chisel the rock, yes, when I chisel the rock breaks and falls, and that space where the rock was there is getting filled up with the air. Now you see, what is the time difference between these two? The chip of the rock falling down and the area is filled up with the air. Am I right? There cannot be any empty space. But there is a time, isn't it? There is a gap. That is called that time. At that time, that's a vacuum. Am I right? Are you getting it? When I chip the homogeneous unit of the solid part, when I chipped, the chip comes out of it, the air is getting filled there. This is slow motion. Now, chip coming out and the air filling, there is this time, which we call it as a vacuum. Same way. When the particular is created, that one is there. So, that period, that time is there in between these two. This coming out and this entering, that period is there, where the Vishwam is getting filled when it was created. That juncture. You got that? This is why he says the universal into the particular is the juncture. When is that universal getting into the particular? When the universal is getting into the particular is the juncture which is called, that juncture is there, that is called life operating in our personality. That is called the life. You understand what I am saying? This is called the life. Why? Now explain. Have you got the clear picture of that? I think I am getting it. You are getting it. Are you getting it? This is called the life operating. Please remember the sentence. It's very important. It's the called the life operating in the personality, in our personality. What is called personality now? Personification of that particular into a particular shape and form is called the personality. Yes, that's why regular, irregular, regular, irregular, I already told. That regular and irregular is called the personality. In that personality, when that personality is created from the Vishwam, when the Vishwam, when the universal has entered into that particular, that juncture while entering into the particular is called the life operating in the, it is not the personality. That's why he said operating in the, in our personality or in the personality, in our personality. That is the one which is operating in our personality, that particular power entering, that while entering that into the particular, the juncture of that entering which is small, which cannot be identified, which cannot be explained. No, it's not that. What it is, we also don't. Nobody knows. That is called, that which is called the life operating in our personality. The personality is the personification of that one. The life, that is called the life operating in the personality. It is not the personality. It is not the life. It is not the personality. It is not the life. But it is called as the life operating in the personality. Getting confused? What is life? Actually, what is life? Life is Purusha, life is Prakriti, life is the Swabhava of Purusha. Blind. That strength, or that which, I don't know what you call it, that when it is entering into the personality, yes, it is the one which makes things happen in the personality. That means in our Swabhava. As I told you, there is a Swabhava. That Swabhava is created. That Swabhava, what is that Swabhava? That Swabhava is that the universal, when entering into the particular, that juncture is called the life or Swabhava, whatever, Prana, you can say, that is Prana. Prana is Swabhava also. Prana, that is called the Prana, and that is the Prana where is called the life operating in our personality. So that strength is there now to enter and go out. What is that vacuum? Suppose I carved the stone, I made a line, I found I made a mistake, so I sealed it with a plaster of Paris. What happened? That air inside has gone out and I have created again something. Am I clear? See? What is that source or what is that power? When I chipped off the stone came in. Yes. The breeze has come in. Air has come in. How the air has come in when I chipped off this one? How the air has gone out when I filled it? You got my point. Okay. There is a power by which the air has come in and where has gone out. That is called life in our operating. That is the life in the operating. If that power is not there, either you cannot cut it or you cannot close it. In order to close it, that has to go out. Otherwise you cannot close it. Otherwise there will be a hollow, we call it. Am I right? Are you getting something like that? Something like that. See? That is what is called the juncture. That juncture is called the prana. What it is, nobody knows. That juncture is the prana which is operating in the universe. Is it not absolutely right? Because of that juncture only, that statue has been made. That line has been made. The form and shape has come. That is worshipped. That is this, that is assumed this, that is this, that is this, that is this, that is this. When it is covered and closed it is totally different. Are you getting it? Am I right? And that is, I think this is a better example to tell you how formation takes place, how another formation takes place. One is by opening it, another by sealing it. One regular, one irregular. No? One Jivatma, another Jivatma. Prana has come in when you cut it. Prana has gone out when closed. Are you getting it now? Is it right? Where is the prana gone? Where has come in? It is the juncture of the universal into the particular. Is why he specifically says the juncture, which is called life operating in our personality. That is called the life operating in the personality. No vayu, no air, nothing. That's called the life. That's called the prana. That's called the prana. Is what making your personality. That is the prana, or that is the life force. That is the prana which is creating your characteristics, your svabhava, making you do karma, the way you want, but you can utilize the way you want it. As I used that juncture for cutting and making a shape from the rock, as well as by closing it, I removed that shape and changed the shape. You can use that life force in you the way you want. Depending upon, you can utilize it. Is why that life, the life or the prana, whatever you think you can do. With the prana you do wrong things, with the prana you do right things. Some people say, if prana has come from that, from the noble, it's a noble thing. Why it is making me do it? It is not making you do it. When you have cut this rock and made a chip, it came and occupied. When you closed it, it went off. That's all. Who is using it? You are using it. Who cut it? You cut it. Who closed it? You closed it. Its job is only witness. Whenever there is cut, come in. Whenever it is not there, go out. Whenever there is a Jivatma, a personality, come in. When the personality finished its experimental experience, go out. Finished. Prana has come in, prana has gone out. It's called life. I think it is clear. Am I clear? I think it should be clear now. Yes. It's so much. Otherwise it won't be. We have to explain it so easily. Otherwise it's difficult to perceive it. It's why he said, because these are all not to understand, no, prana has to be, how to understand prana? Prana has to be experienced, We externally, we think we have understood it, but we have no inclination of what is that juncture. We know the vacuum, we know the cut, we know the removal, we know the filling, we know the Vishwam, we know the particular, everything we know. But what is the juncture? That we don't know. Because that has to be experienced. It has to be meditated on. Tapasya, through the Diksha, through the Ashirvadam, through the Shraddha, this can be ascertained and attained. Operating it is operating factor. Prana is only an operating factor in the personality. It has no other significance. Life is that. No other significance. It is not Purusha. It is not Prakriti. Don't know, I'm misunderstanding. Life is not Ishvara. Life is not Prakriti. Life is not the Sharira. Life is not the Mana. Life is none of them. They are the transmission of the power from that Shakti, from the Purusha to the personality. Right? That will make, so utilizing that power, since that comes from the absolute highest consciousness, which one? That juncture or the power or whatever I don't know whether I can call it as power. That juncture, that power which which makes the universal, enter into the personality. That power. Since it comes from the Purusha, from the highest form of consciousness, this power can be utilized for anything and everything. So the life or the prana can be utilized for anything and everything. So the prana can be utilized for the purpose of either for attainment of the desire or for aspiration. Is why he told in the last class, Maharishi told in the previous chapter that our aspiration shall be fulfilled and no desire goes unfulfilled.
All aspirations.
Okay, whatever it is. All aspirations gets fulfilled, no desire goes unfulfilled. Or no desire can go or goes unfulfilled. You understand now? Who is making it? This juncture, which is only a force, which is Purusha, which is a Shakti of Purusha. That is Ishwaratva. So Prana is also Ishwara. Prana is equivalent to Ishwara. If you utilize for ascension, but it has got the capacity to utilize for aspiration as well as for the desire. If you use the prana for the purpose of desire, yes, you will attain the fulfillment what has been desired, but then this Shakti, this juncture goes off once you have fulfilled the desire. Same thing, this Shakti, when it is, the aspiration has been fulfilled, then it goes off. It reaches you to the next stage where you want to utilize it. So prana is important. Prana is the one which gives you the capacity, swabhava, characteristics to transform. Prana is the one which makes the consciousness function for the purpose of transcendence. Even though consciousness is there, who makes the consciousness function for the purpose of transcendence to the self-experience or self-existence? Prana. So if prana is not there, self-experience is not there, self-existence is not there, the desire is not there, the aspiration is not. Are you getting it? Is why Bhagavan said, prana, hey Maharishi Devrishi, prana is important than the asha. Beautiful it is. I have come only one sentence, we have to go 3 pages on this chapter. Well, I have not explained so much, but we will have to stop this class now. Let us understand this sentence only. Next sentence will go after this. That's also. Now this sentence what we have explained now is the entry of the universal into the particular is the juncture which is called life operating in our personality. The next sentence we'll take in the next class is that it is the borderland of the infinite where the individual expands into the expanse of the infinite and the infinite contracts, the infinite contracts into itself into the finite, as it were. This particular junction we will explain next class. Om Shanti.